You're listening to the Heroes Power Hour presented by BlizzPro.com. Your host, Balrog Fan VP, and co-host, Zexorus and DJ Tyrant.
Hey everyone, welcome back for another week of the Heroes Power Hour. I am here with my two co-hosts. I've got DJ Tyrant here. DJ, big week. How's it going, man?
It's good. Finally got a patch, added in some new stuff, and we did get Lunara. We thought we were going to get her relatively soon here, and here she is.
Yeah, we're all pretty happy about it. And new to the show, but not new to the Nexus, I got Willie Zexorus. How's it going, man?
Going great. I'm pretty excited about Lunara too. And the Cubs dismantled the St. Louis Cardinals, so I'm in a pretty happy mood here recently.
Yeah, as a Dodgers fan, I really appreciate that.
I bet you do.
Baseball was over.
No, not anymore.
We're rebranding to the Baseball Power Hour. We're welcoming JR back onto the show.
JR. We'll hit him up later in the Royals corner. So, yeah, I mean, it's just a bunch of news on our lap this week. Not really expecting this much. Like, I kind of even thought maybe Lunara wouldn't be coming, but it's all very surprising. How was your week in games? I know Jimmy got to play a little bit today.
Yeah, I played a little bit of Lunara when I got home, and I was actually surprised that she also qualifies for the 50% off. So the bundle was only like $8 for her and her skin that she came out with. She's a lot of fun, and we're going to talk about a little bit more about her later. But it's a very different hero than we've had in the past. That seems to be the recurring theme from the last few heroes. Is very, very different from what's been in the game before.
Yeah, and that's always good. I mean, turning the meta on its head a little bit and introducing new concepts and ideas for heroes, it's fun. And I feel like she's a little more grounded in reality as opposed to heroes like Cho and Artanis, and there'll be a little bit more of an impact immediately, but we'll see. We'll see. Like you said, we got that coming up later. Zex, what about you, man?
I'm a horrible person. I've played exactly no heroes this week. I did mess around with Lunara a little bit today, and she's a lot of fun. She's a better Sproink than Enchantress. Basically Xenoblade Chronicles has taken over my soul at this particular moment in time. And yeah, that's been my week in gaming pretty much. It's been pretty short.
It's understandable. I'm kind of in the same boat right now, and it's nothing really against heroes. Everything's so busy right now, and multiplayer doesn't sound like the optimal choice for me sometimes. I did play a little bit today and did some quests and checked out the stuff, but really, I mean, I've been kind of stuck on the Xbox for a week, and I played some Hearthstone here and there too. I actually went on a nice little 8-game win streak. I don't know. That was fun, but I think it's mainly just something simple appeals to me more right now, and heroes and basically all MOBAs are pretty complex. So, but we're gonna play tonight, and I'm sure maybe it'll hook me back in because I know I've been wanting to main this new hero. Zex, you got something going on? Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
I do. A friend of mine, they just had a baby a few months ago, and that baby is now 8 months old and has now been diagnosed with what's known as retinoblastoma, which is basically this child now has cancer in its eyes, which obviously is really sad. And there's a GoFundMe right now going on right now, and I'll be doing a 24-hour marathon stream starting this Saturday from about 3:30 to 4. And then going on until I either pass out or I hit Sunday. So there will be more information at my Twitter, which is right there, and you'll be able to donate and come play games. I've got a huge catalog of games on the PC that I have easy access to, but probably for the most part, it's going to be a whole lot of Heroes.
Sounds great. I'm gonna probably join you myself. Maybe we'll rope DJ in at some point too.
Yeah, I should be able to come in. And I wanted to announce something a little bit as well. If you don't have tickets to see Star Wars Thursday night, and you're looking for something to watch, Heroes Hype, who I've worked a lot with casting and stuff, they're having a Heroes Hype Holiday Showdown Thursday. This Thursday, December 17th, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 Eastern, and they're just going to have two best of fives, just kind of show matches. They're going to have Bob Ross Fan Club facing off against Elevate, and Bob Ross Fan Club is a couple ex-Tempo Storm players on there, and match 2 is going to be Team Blaze versus Murloc Geniuses, so kind of the battle of the right below the number 1 2 teams in North America there, and that's going to be actually casted by Gillyweed and Solid Jake. So I mean that's wow. your BlizzCon casters right there. So I mean if you're looking for something a little fun to watch, Little Heroes, 6 p.m. Thursday.
That's an amazing get, and I know Gilly used to do work with Heroes Hype a lot, and it sounds like you guys are really bringing out the big guns to go up against Star Wars.
Yeah, we're trying to beat out Star Wars this weekend.
It's a good idea. That's a good goal to have.
You probably have a better chance against Star Wars than Alvin and the Chipmunks.
That's true. Oh man, that poor movie. So, anyways, I mean, despite my push to change this into an Alvin and the Chipmunks podcast, we are going to push on with Heroes of the Storm. Lunara hit the Nexus this week, and God, I've been waiting for this since BlizzCon. Honestly, like. There's so much about her I really like, and I mean her movement speed and her sight, her mobile vision ward are two of the main things that I really enjoy. Jimmy, I know Jimmy and Zex, you guys both got a chance to play her. Zex, why don't you just give me your initial impressions on her and what you thought?
She is striking me as a very sustained damage assassin. Her nature's her crippling spores is going to be really good, just because of that slow and the extended duration on that poison she does with every auto attack. She does a disturbing amount of damage to towers.
Yeah,
that I've noticed. She will shred towers if you leave her alone. Like, she doesn't even need a demolition talent, because she just you get those max stacks on a tower, and it's like throwing a talent enhanced Tychus grenade on them.
Yeah,
you know.
No, and it's a very demolition-esque type trait with all that extra damage about that.
Yeah. But like I messed around with a couple of builds with her today, and like I almost feel like one of the things I noticed was she has Giant Killer at 13, but that almost seems incredibly unnecessary if you take unfair advantage.
Yeah,
does 50% more to heroes that are slowed. That seems really unfair, just given her basic kit.
Yeah, no, I'm with you there. My struggle is between unfair advantage and greater spell shield at 13, because that's a big reduction. But I mean, I don't know. It's a tough call. It depends. Every match, it kind of depends with talents in my book. It can flow and change so much depending on what's going on. Jimmy, I know some people raged at you because you weren't already a pro with her. How'd that go?
Yeah, my first game, there's this Stitches yelling at me. He's like, "Do you even know how to play this character?" I'm like, "Do you know that this character came out, today?"
What's wrong with you, Jimmy?
I know.
You queued up as esports champion Jimmy. So
I know, seriously. But yeah, she's gonna be a little bit different than your typical assassins, just because her damage is deceptive, similar to kind of Raynor and Vala, where it there's not huge amount of bursts. It just adds up over time, and like Sex was saying, her trait is all this poison damage just keeps stacking, and at the end of it, you're just racking up a ton of damage. And there's a lot of damage talents that she has across the board. I do like. I know we're not. We said we wouldn't go through a whole breakdown, but I want to kind of highlight at least the.
Oh, we definitely should go through some stuff here.
The first level talent. I like Blossom Spell so far. Just lets you hit the Noxious Blossom a bit better and makes the W more effective. The Crippling Spores. And I think the really interesting talent is on 4, because that's where you upgrade your Wisp, and the Wisp is like you basically get a free scouting drone.
Yeah, no, the Wisp is outstanding. I think it's one of the things that pro players are going to really gravitate towards Lunara because of. I mean, I've just from what I've been reading, people are reacting like, man, she's really good. And it's part of it is that vision. I mean, having a mobile vision ward that you don't have to be next to move. And I mean, if you take something like Dividing Wisp, you can provide double vision in areas and key choke points and whatnot, or you can increase the speed and the radius. Oh, what were you gonna say?
I was just gonna say, like, I've always been kind of a proponent of this, and I think most people agree that vision is so important in this game. I really do like the Skybound Wisp though, because it feels like it gives it a little bit more. Just ability into vision, because if you haven't read it yet, it upgrades your Wisp. You can see over obstacles and reveals the area for 4 seconds after dying. So, I mean that's just a little bit more extra knowledge that you're going to have even after it gets killed off. Yeah,
and I mean the cooldown on it is relatively short. Well, I mean, considering it lasts 45 seconds and its cooldown is 45 seconds, it's almost non-existent.
Yeah.
You can really only have one out at a time unless you take the dividing one. So it just all kind of depends on what you need. I definitely agree with Skybound Wisp. And the only one I can't really see a use for is the Time Last Wisp, where it with costs no mana. And it's
like I've only played like 2 or 3 games with her, and I haven't had any mana problems yet, so I don't see that being necessary right now.
If I may interject here for a minute.
Yes, of course.
I like the Time Lost Wisp mainly because it lets you aggressively scout. If you lose your Wisp, if you are looking for an Abathur or something and they snipe that Wisp, you have a Wisp that's on a reduced cooldown. So it gives you aggressive vision of stationary people.
Well, I can't argue with that. I mean, 10 seconds is better than 20 seconds if that's where your cooldown was at. So, I mean, they all seem like interesting ways to buff your Wisp, and I deem that probably, besides positioning, which is difficult for her, like getting used to the positioning is probably the biggest hurdle most players are going to encounter when using Lunara, especially non-pro players, where you're just kind of like, the way she leaps around is a big problem. Yeah, that's another thing I don't think we talked about, but is very unique about her, is she doesn't have a mount, so she's like Abathur in Lost Vikings in that respect, but she moves 20% faster, I believe, is the base speed upgrade, or based off of the normal walk that characters have. So I mean, you're able to move around the map much quicker. And what about the heroics? I think that's one of the more unique things as well, is the 2 heroics she has, A, have charges, and B, have ridiculously low cooldowns. Yeah. Thornwood Vine almost feels like a spammable ability with how short its cooldown is. With 3 charges in 15 seconds, it's pretty big. And Leaping Strike, for the amount of damage and positioning it gives her, that's also 20-second cooldown with 2 charges. It's pretty big. Yeah, I mean, I found myself using Thornwood Vine to clear out lanes really quickly because you have 3 charges and the cooldown's only 15 seconds. It's silly to not use it pretty much whenever it's up. Yeah, at only 35 mana, it's cheaper than any of her other skills as well. So there really is no reason not to spam it. The damage on it is solid too, so Yeah, I preferred Thornwood Vine a little bit, but Leaping Strike is also very good.
Leaping Strike is a lot like a Chen Kick I've just discovered. It will let you jump over stuff that's in your way.
Yeah,
Like
which has its benefits.
Yeah.
that gives her an escape because she, with no mount, um, her mobility, despite the 20% move speed, you're still not going to outrun a mount. But
Every 30 seconds, she can activate it for a 20% increase as well. On top of it,
really,
yeah, the Dryad Swiftness, that's her Z. It's like Run, but not as good for the Vikings.
and that leap just sends you just flying.
Yeah, it does.
Like
That's
it puts if you do a max distance, like it puts you the same distance away from your target as when you started. So that's a huge amount of ground she's covering. That can reposition you like completely in a better position if things are going south.
Yeah, no, I mean that's they're. I think both ultimates are very very good choices. And one thing I want to point out in the talent tree that I absolutely love is if you buff her Thorn Whip at 20 and take Forest Wrath, it increases the vine range by 30% and speed by 20%. Cool, and your vision radius by 35%. That's just a passive bonus you get for taking this that makes you see farther than any hero in the game. And
Yeah.
that definitely has its uses for keeping her safe and tracking down who's at objectives when they think normally that you wouldn't be able to see them, things like that. So,
Mm-hmm.
but that's a tough level. I mean, Abolish Magic is so good, as is Galloping Gate. Abolish Magic, obviously, because her biggest problem is her squishiness. Like, she can get blown up.
Oh
really.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Zeratol kind of eats her alive. Anybody who can stun her out, you know. So Abolish Magic's pretty huge. You can activate that to remove all stuns, roots, and silences, and damage over time effects from yourself and an ally. So you cast it on an ally to remove stuns from you and them, or whatever bad is affecting them. And the one thing is damage over time effects. You can use this to remove Kelthus bombs, which nothing else does. So that's pretty cool as well. And
I'm honestly looking at Balanced Stride, and I'm kind of trying to. I can't really find a problem with it. If say you have an Uther or somebody else with a cleanse talent,
Mhm.
Boundless Stride gives you great late game escapability
I'm
and maneuverability.
I'm not in disagreement. I think this is one of the few heroes where every level 20 choice has a big implication on how you play her, and how much it will help will depend on what you're facing. But I don't think there's like an absolutely wrong choice here like there is with a lot of level 20s.
Yeah, no, they're first time in a while. They're all good choices.
Yeah, I mean both
This isn't a
the
hero. This isn't a hero where we go, yeah, just they're all garbage. Take Bolt.
Right, right.
yeah, like both the heroics are totally. I could see situations for both being viable, and I could see situations for all the level 20 talents really being viable. Like you were saying, if you're getting really hardly focused down as a Kael'thas, you want to survive that late game, and Abolish Magic basically lets you do that.
Yeah, and Galloping Gate will make it so when you hit her Z activate a 20, it's an 80%. So you're just moving 100% faster for 6 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's going to help her survive against people who are targeting her the whole game. Like if you need to get away from that Zeratol, or make him blow a Void Prison on you to keep you in place, that's an ideal move, or an ideal tool to have. So there's just nothing wrong with any of these things. I'm really happy with their level 20s, which is, like you said, Zax. I mean, a lot of the times it's like, yeah, all these are garbage. Take Bolt. I'm looking at you, Zagara. Like, there's like every one of her level 20s. There's no point in not taking Bolt.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no incentive to it, really. And
Oh yeah.
even some of the newer heroes have had that problem. So it's nice to see him hit that nice balance there with all those. Just in general, though, I mean, My predictions is she's going to make a big splash in the pro scene, and I think to the point where she might see first turn ban, like first round bans, especially if someone on Cloud9 or someone like that picks her up, because the vision she's going to provide is just going to be too much. Like people who know how to play the positioning game and barely die are going to make her look amazing. It's going to be like how Tehran just was, a focal point for certain teams because of the vision she provided. I mean, that's what she's going to do in assassin form. Where do you guys think? Do you think I'm overstating this at all, or?
No, I don't think you're overstating at all. I think you're pretty much on point right now with put her in somebody far more skilled than our hands, and right. I'm absolutely positive that they're gonna work just absolute magic.
Jimmy?
I have to agree with you guys. I mean, just her toolkit is really scary because with the pro team, vision is just that much more of a tool for them to use than necessarily like we would, because mostly we're playing pub matches or Hero League or stuff like that. Right. So it's a little harder to take advantage of that vision.
Yeah, because you're providing vision to your team so they can properly position themselves, and that doesn't always translate in quick match. Or,
yeah, exactly.
Or with your friends, just. But that's when pro players really abuse.
Yeah, I think at least the first couple weeks here of competitive play with her, we're going to see people just not wanting to deal with that now. At least I think they're going to want to get some more scrims in outside of live competitive matches before they really have to face her. And what that does, interestingly enough, is it kind of opens up a lot of the other heroes that we've seen get first banned a lot lately. Uther, Jaina, Tyrande even. They're going to continue. I mean, they've always been first picks for months now, it feels like. But they're going to rise back up again from being banned out for that first round.
Yeah. Now, I got to ask you, Jimmy, since you're doing the Heroes Hype thing this Thursday, do you think we'll see her?
I think so. I think since it's a show match, they're going to want to kind of show her off, and we'll see how that works out.
So even more incentive to tune into Heroes Hype. That'll be cool. Seeing, like you said, Zach's players more skilled than us using very. I mean, I know they have her listed as medium. I definitely put her difficulty at hard. She's the bounding is very jarring. It's different than any other character moves, and her squishiness makes her very, very, I don't know, just rough to use. So it'll be interesting to see how that affects the meta and what the pros do with her. And just overall, I couldn't be happier with Lunara.
Yeah, and I feel like I've said this with every new hero for the past 2 or 3 months, but the skill cap is really high for this hero.
Yeah, your positioning has to be impeccable with her. Otherwise, like someone like high mobility heroes like Zeratul, Chen, Illidan, like people who can just get on you and stay on you are just gonna ruin your day.
Yeah, and even Nova really, really punishes you if you're out of position. Because of how low her health pool is, she just melts.
Yeah, those are the instances where you'd want the reveal talent. She has a reveal talent at 1, a reveal talent at 4, spell shield at 13. So there are ways to play around it, but yeah, it's going to be tough to adjust, especially when you're still learning the new hero.
Mm-hmm.
I do want to point out we've got a person in chat, Ukulele J, who said he or she is new and interested to HOTS, came back around mostly in LOL and Dota 2. And what's funny is our What's Hot on Reddit topic coming up soon actually deals with this exact subject, so stick around and we'll talk about that for you. But there was also, along with Lunara, I mean, it's always, the new hero is always the big thing. Like, that's what everybody's really, buttering their bread with, but there is a patch too, like a pretty big patch. Besides, just dropping a hero on us, which is what I kind of expected. They would say like, okay, here's the Winter Veil Fest, here's the hero, that's all you got. But I mean, there was just a lot of little stuff kind of added that I know I didn't expect. What was the most surprising thing to you, Jimmy, out of all this extra stuff in the chat in the patch?
I think the user interface changes a little bit just because I wasn't expecting it.
The chat navigation.
Yeah. Like it's very much like how StarCraft 2 is now. So I guess I shouldn't be super surprised, but it just did it did surprise me because they hadn't really mentioned anything about it. And I think the loading screens they've updated those even more now, and I actually really like this change. It was kind of, I think we've all kind of realized this was a bit of a pain point, but now in Quick Match, it doesn't show your Hero League rank. It doesn't show your Team League rank at all. Those only show up in Hero League or Team League games, and that's actually like really nice. I feel like just because it doesn't really reveal too much about your skill level in Quick Match anymore, and all that stuff.
Well, with the changes too, like that won't matter. You like once the matchmaking changes are really in full swing, which we'll be talking about a little bit here. You'll just trust that that's good enough. You know, you won't have to worry. And people would hide their stuff too in Hero League and Team League. They'd look like level 40 players and hide the rest of the stuff. This kind of promotes clarity amongst what you're doing. Same thing with the party indicator icons. It lets you know before the match who's in a party together. And if you see, you know, oh man, those three, you know, there's Zexris, Balrog Fan, and DJ Tyrant. They're all in a party together, and they seem to be moving together. You know, well, maybe I should, you know, if I see one of them, I should assume one of the others is around and kind of play it more carefully there. So you can kind of adjust and maybe see your or change your strategies on the fly based on what you see. And I definitely like that. I wasn't expecting it. Willie, what were there things that you weren't expecting, or
custom game lobby links? I'm actually more excited than I should be for that.
No, that's actually super helpful for tournament organizers and everybody, pretty much.
Yeah, that makes organizing, like you just said, that makes organizing tournaments a lot easier instead of having to invite each person and then adding them and then unadding them from battle.net friends list. If you do that kind of thing, like, it's going to streamline that whole process a lot easier. So yeah. I am actually, that is the thing I was most surprised by and most happy with.
Guys, we're all about these social features because I like the chat navigation. The one thing I really like is, like, okay, if you want to join us, you can join our channel, BlizzPro. And if you join that channel and you log on, now you will see who is online for that channel, like who's in that channel. So it kind of makes it more, I don't know, there's more of an incentive to talk in these channels, which can go dead sometimes if it's not a very active channel. So I thought that was kind of cool as well. But besides the social stuff, I mean, we got some mounts taken out. Cyberwolf, Direwolf, Tyrael's Chargers, all gone. Lunar Tiger, Magic Carpet, both back. And surprisingly, the new mount, Champion's Nexagon, for 5,000 gold, you can buy a mount that kind of celebrates Cloud9's victory at BlizzCon, and it's like a hexagon with the Cloud9 logo on it. It actually looks pretty cool. I didn't know what to expect when I read it in the patch, but I was like, oh yeah, I'm definitely buying that. That's sweet looking.
Yeah, I bought it too. It's actually pretty. It's pretty, guys.
It's pretty.
Someday me speak pretty.
and the nice thing about it is it doesn't cost money. It's what, 5,000 gold?
Yeah, 5,000 gold.
That's not too bad.
Yeah, I was expecting 20,000 gold because it didn't say it right away when I logged on, and was pleasantly surprised. And it's only available until February, and I don't know. That might be like, you know, limited time only. So just go ahead and buy it right now, if you're interested. If mounts are your kind of thing. Price changes too. Zagara's down to 4,000 gold and 649 in US dollars. That's nice. I mean, she's a good champion and or hero, and to make her cheaper is always a good thing. I like to see that heroes are constantly being adjusted. It's kind of important for newer players who, like I said, last week, I'm hood rich with heroes, so it's easy to forget how much of a buy-in there is if you want to play like different heroes all the time.
Oh yeah. And then, do we want to talk about the Wintervale stuff a bit? Because that's actually really cool. We're finally getting a themed event for the holidays. And there's a new special event quest started up today. Play 15 games, you get a 4-day stim pack. 50 games, you get a 10-day stim pack, and those stack on top of each other. So it's not like you play 15 games and then you have to play another 50 to get that 10-day stim pack. But free stim packs, I'm all for that. It'll help me get a couple more level 10s on some of my heroes. That's one thing I didn't mention. I got Jaina level 10 this week.
Woo! Good job, sir.
So now I never have to play her ever again.
Yeah, thank God. Yeah, 2 weeks worth of stim packs are not bad. I mean,
No, that's good.
there's a festive treasure goblin mount, which I mean, I think a lot of people are gonna kind of end up on the complaining side of this because I already have seen people saying, Io, one of our patrons, like, "Oh man, this mount was so perfect on Murky. Can I keep him?" Like,
Yeah.
so it's. I mean, I don't know. It's kind of a mixed bag. I think it's just cool to offer a free like it's a festive treasure goblin mount. It's fun, you know. Don't expect it to be around all the time.
Oh yeah, and yeah, I really like the new items in the shop. The Sugar Plum Sylvanas and Great Father Stitches. Those are really cool skins.
Yeah, we're actually Eldorian is I'm sorry. Eldorian is actually playing with us specifically so he can check out this Sugar Plum Sylvanas in game on stream. It's a cool looking. I was honestly I was a little disappointed with Great Father Stitches, and really impressed with Sugar Plum Sylvanas.
Are you kidding me? His mouth is Christmas lights. Get out of here. His hook is a candy cane.
Yeah, his mouth is like little peppermint tooth.
No, I'm talking about stomach mouth.
Oh, okay.
Wrong mouth.
Wrong mouth. Problem. Oh well. And yeah, no, I mean, I don't know. Something about it was just a little off to me. I wasn't like I was really psyched for it. I thought it was gonna I was definitely gonna buy it, and I was like, oh, okay. I'm glad other people like it, but that's why there's always options, and skins speak to people differently. I know people who absolutely love Candy Crush Murden, and other people who just are appalled by it. So
yeah, horrible skin. Candy Crush Murden, you should be ashamed of yourself.
Point made.
But I mean, I don't know. I'm very happy with this little extra celebration thing they got going on. It's cool. I guess I was kind of expected to see maybe some Christmas lights and some snow on some of the maps, and I was a little bummed.
Well, have you finished a match yet?
Oh yeah, that's right. You're right, Jimmy. I did see all the snowmen pop up, and I did get a little chuckle out of that. So yeah, it's a nice little touch.
Yeah, 30 days of that though might get a little old, but thank you for the little nod there, Blizzard. It's fun.
Yeah, definitely. I know it's a lot because you've got all the maps, but I want to see some snow on the ground next year, guys. It's called Winter Veil, not look the exact same veil. So I don't know.
All right, well, let's get to some nitty gritty stuff of because there were actually some changes to Warriors this patch.
Yeah, that's a big deal. I know I've complained about this for a while now, and I was really happy to see. Now, when they're looking for party, it will register whether or not a team has a warrior, and you will not be matched against a team that has a warrior when your team does not have a warrior. Now, I assume if you have a 5-man party, those effects are still the same. Where if you are 5-manning it and nobody picks a warrior, you can go up against people who have warriors. But if you're just solo queuing, no longer will you be on a team with, hey, I'm going to play a support. Oh, good, there's Nova, there's Ceratul, there's Abathur, and another support. Oh, and they got 3 tanks. Wonderful.
Yeah.
So that will be nice. I definitely think Warriors have taken on a life of their own since they instituted that support rule that's similar to this. And you're really at a disadvantage. Like, it's okay to not have a warrior against a team who doesn't have a warrior, or varying warriors if one team's running 2 or 3 and the other team's only running 1. You can make that work. But I've gotten paired into games where I don't have a warrior on my team and they do, and it does not feel good.
Agree.
Willie, I mean, you're the resident warrior expert. Are you happy about this, or?
Yes and no. Because it's fun to play. It's fun to play a warrior against a non-warrior count, because then I can just go, I can pick Chen and just go ham.
Wow.
But on the same note, it's really frustrating those times I don't play warrior, and then nobody else on my team played warrior. So this prevents that particular headache, which obviously is a good thing. Blizzard's doing the right thing by doing this. So
Yeah. And there's some minor AI improvements too. AIs will more effectively be more efficient on offense and retreat. And the elite AI will now focus their attacks on low health enemies and chase more often, so that should be interesting.
There we go.
Getting bot by the elite AI.
There we go. Yeah.
That could be fun though. I mean, I don't particularly play a lot of AI, but I know people that's all they want to do when they play this game. They just log on, do some AI matches, and they just sort of that's the fun they have with this game. So maybe upping the difficulty here and there would be, beneficial for those players.
Yeah, definitely.
Minor changes to Tassadar, Artanis, and Cho. Not Cho'Gall, just Cho. I mean, the Tassadar change is almost inconsequential. He can now cast his Plasma Shield on allies inside the Hall of Storms, which is the starting area, but, that nothing big.
It feels more like a bug fix than anything.
Yeah, I would call that a patch. Definitely a bug fix. What do you think about the Artanis changes?
That's scary. His basic attack range is increased by 25%, and the Phase Prism range and speed have each been increased by 15%.
The Phase Prism one I wasn't expecting. I kind of saw the basic attack one coming because it was known that his attack range was lower than any other melee heroes. So
yeah,
I mean, I don't know if that was initially supposed to be in the design or something that just happened, but I figured that would get changed eventually. But yeah, the Phase Prism one, that is scary.
Yeah, I'm curious to see just how many more Phase Prisms are going to get connect now because of that.
Hopefully he'll feel a little more. I don't know. There's just something off about him. I never like having him on my team. I never like playing against him. There's just something weird about him. I don't. He's got a weird play style that I just don't enjoy. But I don't know. Maybe this will help it.
I don't know. I'm interested in checking him out a bit more and seeing how these changes help him out.
Yeah, he's I don't know. We'll see. And with Cho, it's just kind of quality of life changes because he has just been. I mean, his win rate's been going up a bit as Cho'Gall, but it's still kind of in the toilet as well. And they gave him some basic attack damage on Cho, some more base health, and base health regen. So, I mean, the base health he starts off with a little under 200 more health, which is that's nice. The damage is another 10, but I don't know. We'll see with Cho'Gall. I still don't know what to think about that guy, honestly. I always feel like I'm at a disadvantage when he's on my team, and I'm able to blow him up fairly easy when he's on the enemy's team. So
yeah, I kind of feel the same way. Not a huge fan.
I've fallen off the Cho'Gall fence firmly into the I hate Cho'Gall camp.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll see with time. I love the idea of the hero. I just think the execution needs a little work. But yeah, some minor bug fixes that we won't bore you to death with. Basically, stuff that should work now works, and there's stuff that still doesn't work that they realize, and they will make it work later. So good enough. But also, they on top of all this, they talked about matchmaking improvements and gave us the Phase 1 layout. And there's just so much here. I know, Jimmy, you first kind of broke this and talked about it. What was the thing that you noticed the most? Like, what do you think the most important change coming here is?
Them being less concerned about wait times now. I know before it would hit a mark, like 10 minutes. I think, it was 10-minute mark. And it would just match you with whatever it could find. It was like, okay, you've waited long enough, getting you in the game. And now it looks like it's going to try to just do a better job of making sure you get a quality game instead of just jumping you into a game that really, if they had just done that at minute 1, it could have been the same exact result as waiting 10 minutes for matchmaking on that. And I believe, I think these are in the game already. Actually, like today, I believe these are in the game now.
some of these are and some of them are not. They mark which ones they want to do in the future, but yeah. Um, and I'm with you 100%. I mean, we always have our jokes like, "Oh, geez, these queue times, huh? What about these queue times
Hmm.
today? We're doing a show." But honestly, I'd rather wait the extra couple of minutes and find a team that's close to my skill level and close to my party members' skill levels, and have a good match rather than just get thrown into a dump fest where one team gets just steamrolled and the other team feels great, and that's just not fun for either side. My favorite thing that's coming down the pike right now too for these changes is they want to limit unfavorable team compositions in quick match, and the example they give is like the likelihood that one team would receive multiple special heroes such as Cho'Gall, Abathur, and Nova in a future update, because outside of Cho'Gall, some of those heroes are heroes I wouldn't mind playing or wouldn't like or would like to practice every now and again in quick match, but I always feel like I'm really like just being selfish and I'm gonna end up in a bad team comp if I pick someone like
Hmm.
App or Nova,
Yeah, and kind of like how we talked about when Shogal came out, we were like, you have to build a team around him, and quick match is really not conducive to that at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, hopefully it'll match Cho'Gall players with people who kind of work well with Cho'Gall, or at least close to play well with Cho'Gall. That might be me. I apologize. Um, but yeah, the queues and the wait times are the big thing, though. Really, I mean, it seems like they're kind of like Jimmy said. They're just kind of focusing on making sure that waiting isn't as big of a deal and getting a more quality match is. Willie, did you see anything here that you really liked or wanted to?
The mixing the high-low MMR players, because really at no point if you're say 15 in Hero League, I really feel like you shouldn't be getting matched up with rank ones in Hero League. That's still a huge jump in the MMR the internal MMR rankings. That really shouldn't happen. I mean, it's going to be inevitable sometimes, but the fact that they're cutting down on that, I like that. Like you're gonna, it comes back to getting a more even quality match,
Yeah,
and I I don't mind a stomp every once in a while, especially if I'm five manning. That one night in team league we played, where we ran into two rank one teams in a row, and we just screwed around.
yeah,
Nobody was mad we lost. Like we got to do some squirrely stuff, and that's not a bigger problem for me. But if I'm soloing, and then I get queued up against a team of rank one to fives, and it's obviously going to be a lopsided difference. That kind of bugs me. But with this change, it looks like that's going to happen less frequently, and I'm okay with that.
definitely. And I mean that's all you really want. You want players on the same skill level to play against each other. And hopefully that's. I mean, it seems like they kind of realize that they need this to happen, and that's why all these changes are coming. Especially the one with making sure that matching veterans and new players. It needs to not happen because punishing new players who jump in this game and just get brutalized, it does nothing but turn people off to the game, and that's the last thing you want. Another interesting thing is down in the future they are looking to make sure that you're not matched with players you blocked. So that's also kind of important. It seems kind
This
of
seems like
silly,
such a no-brainer. Like,
yeah. You
I don't
feel
know.
like I guess it's just another algorithm to add that they haven't added yet. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't understand how most of that stuff works. Usually, I just hit a ready button and sit there and stare at the screen until I hear noises. So,
Exactly. But yeah,
uh,
the blog post is really detailed, and we could talk forward and backwards about this, but basically they just explain, they break down how they address the issues with the matchmaking and what their challenges are and what they're going to do in the future. And we mentioned some of those, like the high low MMR player issue and the quick match team composition. So it'll be interesting. I'm glad we did get these in time. Browder did say we'd get them before the end of the year, and they are here.
Yeah. No, it's an important, it's a big need, and I'm glad they were able to get it out. Technically, 2 weeks before the new year, but hey, we're still here.
Uh,
And,
oh,
oh, go ahead.
I got one more thing. I'm sorry. The
No, you-
block player thing. I'm curious as to how that's going to play out because some of us coming over from different games. One of the things I always did in different in Dota was I'd start a ranked match and I'd promptly mute everybody.
Yeah.
So I am curious.
And block them.
Yeah, you have to block them. So I'm curious as at one point it said I couldn't block any more people.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
That's how large my block list had gotten. So I'm curious as to how people who do similar things, because I know I'm not the only one who did that.
Yeah. Getting liberal with a ban hammer. Willie's not afraid, guys.
No,
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 I
I'm
did that a few times when I was playing Dota. It was just like, oh, I'm going to play, but I don't want to deal with people right now, which seems
And
silly.
no, it happens. I mean, you every now and again you're gonna run into a guy on your team or girl or whatever that just rubs you the wrong way and you do not want to deal with. So you immediately mute them, or even if they're especially toxic, you might block them. So it'll be good to see how that all ends up panning out. But if you want to see any of these sort of if you want to see any of the details on any of the stuff, all of this stuff went up on heroesofthestorm.blizzpro.com today, and a lot of articles went out. So if you want to see all the details and read up for it on yourself, I recommend going there. It's a great website, right?
Yeah,
yes.
a lot of great articles there.
Okay, rounding out this week, we're trying to do what's hot on Reddit topic once a week. Just kind of interact with what the community's talking about. And while this wasn't the biggest uprated post, most of the stuff that was on there right now pertained to the three topics beforehand, so it seemed kind of redundant to bring it up again. But there was a player who basically he said, I started out playing HOTS as sort of a Blizzard fanboy because my friends quit League. So I played with shame because at its base the game felt casual, and I looked at it like it was for idiots. Its strategy was mediocre, and the deviation from carrying your weight came off as funny. This was the sort of thing where he continued to play the game in shame out of sort of just, wanting to have something to play, but feeling like he was playing a kid's game. But he admits as soon as he went back to League of Legends, he started to miss HOTS. He felt like he had no health. The one-shotting insta-kill ability damage was annoying. The balance in the other games were rough, in League was rough. And there's almost no teamwork in compared to HOTS, because in the end all that matters is if you individually get fed early game, you can carry the entire team, leaving teammates wandering around almost. And the last thing that I really identified with was last hitting, a stressful minigame that determines your entire 45-minute performance. Stuns, slows, and knockups are everywhere, and once you get hit by one or two, you're dead right there. So at the end of the post, he wraps it up. He's like, I love HOTS. He basically came out of the HOTS closet and told everyone he's proud to be a HOTS player. And I was really glad to hear that, because I think people who come in with that attitude only stick to it because they're stubborn. HOTS is a
Hmm.
great game. Heroes of the Storm is a great game at its base, and it's nice to see people from other genres kind of recognize it's different and it's fun. And I'm glad to see stuff like that, because a lot of the stuff I don't play League very much anymore is because of the stuff I like in Hot and Heroes of the Storm so much. And I know Willie and Jimmy, you have a Dota 2 background. So is there any of that kind of like? Well, I'll start with you, Willie, because you've been bringing up Dota. What what kind of background do you think Dota has that, or I mean, what kind of mechanics in Dota do you think kind of like don't feel right compared to Heroes of the Storm, or are there any?
Um, you touched on it earlier. I like the fact that last hitting uh is used more for pushing than farming.
Yeah,
You want to get your creep wave out quickly so your wave can soak those shots and gain an advantage over that. Um, the other thing I like a lot, and I was actually talking to a friend about this the other day, where he's part of the mod crew for Beyond the Summit, which I'm the head mod for, and he is he's very diehard Dota 2. You know, we spar back and forth about Dota versus HOTS, and the one thing I love HOTS for is the map variation, and the fact that on some maps some heroes are good and others are bad, but if you go to a different map, the very reverse could happen. Those bad heroes are now good on that map, vice versa. So, really, like, it keeps the game fresh while taking some mechanics. And I've said this for a while. I've been saying this for a while now. HOTS has this weird thing where it unchains you from your teammates, and yet it chains you even harder to them. Where in Dota, you could have the rest of your team could suck, but you were playing Shadow Fiend, and you're hitting all your raises, and you're hitting all your skill shots, and you're super farmed, and you basically can just put the team on your back and carry yourself to victory. Okay. Whereas in Heroes, that's kind of still the same. It's kind of the same way, where everyone levels up together. Everyone has the same amount of viability at the same point in time. Whereas Dota, if you have under-leveled supports, they're not going to be very effective.
Yeah.
Where
DJ,
go ahead, DJ.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like they're just two completely different games now. I mean, they're the same exact genre, but the skill difference is totally different. I mean, obviously Dota, you can have one person pick a carry and just completely carry that entire team. The four other players could be literally garbage, and that one person could carry the whole team. But Heroes, what I like about it is your whole team needs to be at least competent for you to have a shot at winning games, and there's not really a carry role at all, maybe, in Heroes. And just the thing I really like about
Heroes, but yeah, there's no true carry.
Yeah. But I mean, the thing I really like about Heroes versus Dota 2 is it cuts out all of the kind of micromanagement stuff. I mean, some people like that and enjoy that, and I did for a bit when I played Dota 2, which is like, you have your last hitting, you have your denying creeps, and you have your farming for gold, you have your item buying, you have bottle crowing, you have all this stuff that just is like almost a mini game in itself. But Heroes just throws that all out and lets you focus on team fighting, positioning the entire time. It's just really, really good, and it helps that I'm a Blizzard fanboy. So it's all these heroes that I know and appreciate.
My main thing too is I don't miss building items. I don't miss like following the rules of the game to the point where I don't get to really fight or engage with anyone until like 15 minutes in, 10 minutes in, or whatever. Like, those kind of things always bothered me. Like, I'm here to team fight. I'm here to be with my friends or be with my teammates and try to get the better of the other enemies. Like, I don't want all this other like stuff thrown at me in the beginning of the game. I don't want the vast knowledge of wealth that's needed to know which item build path is best against these 4 champions who are currently popular in the meta.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I feel like the talent system does just enough to really differentiate heroes and be able to create different unique builds for the situations and stuff like that. Because instead of choosing the leveling up your abilities like in League or Dota, you have your 3 main abilities at first, then you get your ult at level 10, and you get to choose how you either buff kind of passive things like, oh, you buff your damage here, or you're buffing abilities to make them a bit more viable and stuff like that. So it's interesting because someone like Vala, she really has like three different separate viable builds that like are all really good ways to go. You have your multi-shot build, you have your Hungry Arrow build, and you have your auto attack build. And both of her ults are very much viable and very situational. And obviously, not every single hero in Heroes of the Storm is going to hit that mark. And a really glaring issue is like Sylvanas. You're never ever going to take possession.
Yeah, yeah. There are things you just stay away from, or build paths that are kind of set in stone because they're needed. But the one thing I always appreciate is having the option of something like block, or in Stitch's case is dampen magic, like things like that, where you can kind of like see, oh my god, they're really heavy on the auto attack or the abilities. Like you're going to need that little bit of extra stuff to get in there and mix it up, and it makes the difference, and it offers some interesting counterplays and different ability paths, or talent paths, which is always nice. Ukulele J asks, what exactly are talents? And talents are basically like when you hit level 4, when you start the game, you get a choice between typically like 4 choices, and they all affect the way that your hero gets different buffs and whatnot. There's a nice link in the chat there where you can check it out. But basically, talents are just something that lets you customize your hero in the game as your team level progresses. And those pop at level 1, level 4, level 7. At level 10, that's when you take your ultimate, or in this game they're called heroics. You're level 13, you're level 16, and you're level 20. And they basically let every character, 2 people can play the same character completely differently, as Jimmy kind of touched on. A Vala multi-shot build is going to be much different from a Vala auto-attack build. So it's nice on-the-fly micro, as opposed to things like runes and things like item builds that feel like you're having downtime within the game to go get them right, which always, I don't know, I'm not a fan of, but the other games are also very fun games, and there's nothing wrong with them. I think Heroes of the Storm appeals more to what I'm looking for. So yeah, I don't know. I'm always surprised when people come in bashing Heroes. It kind of bothers me. I want to stand up and be like, "That's my game," But everybody has their own thing, so whatever. But yeah, that pretty much covers that. You guys got anything you want to toss in there before we move on?
I don't think so.
Actually, the streamer Chew 8 last night, I think he did some gimmick stuff with Gazlo and Sylvanas with possession on Towers of Doom, and they ended up just crushing that map.
Really?
Yeah.
It's it's a good spot there, huh?
Yeah, it looks like it. I was surprised. I'm like, this can't possibly work. And then they ended up holding his team ended up holding all of the towers for up until there was 3 health left, and they started it at about 20 when their enemy core had 25 health.
Wow.
Jeez.
So, yeah, it was. I was like, what?
I'll have to check that out. That sounds really interesting. I'm really curious how that worked out.
Yeah, someone in chat pointed out too, possession is not the least picked heroic. It's actually Nidus Worm.
Yeah, that's actually probably true.
Yeah, well, it sounds true. I was scratching my head trying to figure out what could be least picked or less picked than possession, and that definitely sounds right. Anyways, this we covered a lot of stuff today, guys. We're hitting our mark right about an hour. I think we nailed it. We got the game portion coming up. As always, we have patrons who donate to us, and you can do that at, what's the link, Jimmy?
Patreon.com/HeroesPowerHour.
And if you want to donate anything like $1 a month, it goes a long way for us. There's all kinds of costs and stuff that go along with doing a show, and money always helps. So, if you want to donate, we have goals there set up, and one thing is that you will always have a chance for a first priority in our game portion, where you can jump right in and be a part of the action. So, if not too many patrons showed up that night, you can still get in. Just be in the chat room, and we'll pull anybody in if we need extra people. If we have enough, we do 5-on-5s. If not, we rotate people in and out for quick matches or team league, whatever everyone's feeling. But it's always a pretty good time, and yeah. So if you want to be a part of that, go ahead and donate. Make sure you're checking out heroesofthestorm.blizzpro.com. We all write things for that website, and I do build articles every Thursday. I kind of break down what kind of talents and strategy you should be employing with certain heroes. Zex does a lot of the same stuff. We write articles Alebeard writes some wonderful articles about strategies and
Mm-hmm.
how to adopt them, especially for newer players. That's very helpful. So, make Heroes of the Storm.blizspro.com your one-stop shop for Heroes stuff. And
Definitely.
you guys, Willie, you got anything you want to add?
Nope, I pretty much said my piece.
What about you, DJ?
I'm ready to go play some games. I want to see Lunara in action.
All right, well, we won't hold off any longer. Be sure to tune in next Tuesday, 7 Pacific, 10 Eastern. I'm a Balrog fan. That's DJ Tyrant and Zexorus, and we will see you again next week.